the ride is definitely better. There was something about those, oh my, I think I may have, I wasn't quite expecting that to do that. Good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now recently I reviewed the Mini GP3. I thought that car was uncomfortable, uncompromising, mental, but brilliant. So after that video came out, a subscriber of mine, Ian, sent me a message and said, Damien, would you like to review my Mini GP2? You can guess the answer was yes. And here I am today standing next to his car. He's only actually had it a couple of weeks. It's come back from Vs Mini having some refurb work done, so I feel very lucky. The experience of the GP3 is very fresh in my mind. So I want to see, what is the GP2 like? Is it maybe better than the GP3? Being newer does not necessarily make it a better car. So what we're going to do over the course of the video, we'll have a look at the outside, we'll talk about the mechanicals, and most importantly and most exciting for me is taking this GP2 out on the road and trying to find out, is this a better car than the GP3? So when I first turned up at Ian's house and saw this GP2 sitting here, the first thing was, wow, that looks incredible. Second thing was, blimey, isn't the GP3 so much bigger than this GP2? It's the same with all cars nowadays. They get bigger. People are demanding more legroom, more creature comforts. You've got more things to do with safety features, so they do get bigger. That means more weight, and more weight is definitely a bad thing when it comes to handling. But let's talk about the styling at the front of the two GPs. So the GP2 has the red stripe running around the outside of the fake air scoop, and also the GP badge. Now the only time you're ever going to hear me say that the GP3 is more subtle than the GP2 is around here. GP3 is just grey. That is the only thing that is more subtle. The GP3 is bonkers when it comes to styling. Completely and utterly nuts. But let's look at the front air intakes. Now this has got the 1.6 litre engine, so I think it requires a bit less cooling and is a bit more subtle in this way. We've got the grille here, and then we've got a black piano surround. Looks really smart. Bit lower down we've got some more air intakes with rather cool red surrounds on there as well. The GP3 on the other hand, this area here is like twice the size, and it's surrounded by red. There's a red stripe that runs down the middle, and the whole of this bottom section here is also in red. It is significantly more aggressive than the look of the GP2. I don't know what you guys think. Do you prefer the look of the GP2 front or the GP3? If we look at the wing mirrors as well, this has got matching red caps on there, and the GP3, they are in silver to match the roof. So the GP2 and 3 both have unique alloys. They've got 4-spoke. So they're slightly bigger on the GP3, they're 18-inch, and on here they're 17s. Now something that is incredibly controversial, some people love it, some people really do hate it, is the extended wheel arches that come on the GP3. They are massive, but do allow a wider track, so you can have a wider tyre under there. They're actually made from offcuts from the Kumho fibre reinforced polymer used in the i3 and i8. I think they look pretty cool. Certainly not to everyone's taste, because they do stick out quite significantly. The one thing I do love about them though, it's actually got the chassis number written on the top corner. It's something they haven't got on the GP2, and I don't know why. The GP1 has it, the GP3 has it, although you can pay BMW some money, I have no idea what that some money is, and you can have your roof number stuck on top of the car. Don't know how much it is and whether it's worthwhile, but it's a shame it's not there. Now something else, while we're talking about wheels, is what sits behind them. Now the GP3 has 4-piston Brembo brakes with 360mm discs. This on the other hand, considering it's lighter, has actually got 6-piston calipers with 330mm, so slightly smaller discs, but another couple of calipers. Bonkers stopping power. Very, very impressive. The other thing we've got on the side here, we've got this decal here with GP logo. I think that looks pretty smart. With the GP3 on the other hand, it's more of an interpretation of the word GP, and it's in red and runs down the side. But it's not massively different, to be honest, other than the GP3 being bigger. So when the car came out in 2012, this was considered to be a large wing, part metal, part carbon fibre. But when you compare it to the behemoth that's attached to the back of the GP3, this might as well not be there in comparison. It is huge. It's 2 levels, 2 huge boxes attached to the back of the GP3. There is nothing subtle about it whatsoever. The rest of the GP here is pretty much standard Mini. I mean, you've got a custom diffuser, which looks pretty good, couple of twin exhausts. So GP2 is definitely more subtle than the slightly insane GP3. All GPs have something very unique in the boot. Well, it's not really what's in the boot, it's what's not in the boot. So in order to save weight, both the GP1, 2 and 3 have no rear seats. Something else which I've been reading about and is a bit of a myth is the rear red bar that runs across the back. Lots of people have said, it's for torsional rigidity. It's nothing to do with that whatsoever. It's to do with US regulations that state you have to have something in there to stop all of your luggage in the back flying into the passenger compartment. It's a shame it doesn't do anything, but it does look really, really cool. In terms of practicality though, it's not very practical. There's nowhere really to put anything without it flying around in the back. I think you can get a net of some description if you do need a bit more practicality, but it's a GP at the end of the day. You're not buying this to be a family car, you're buying this to be an aggressive, angry car, either on track or out on the road. So welcome to the inside of this GP2. If you've driven any Mini of this era, it will look very familiar, but there are some nice touches to make this feel a bit more special. We've got leather everywhere, we've got red stitching on the steering wheel, the dash down by the glove box, and also on these lovely lightweight custom RECAROs. These are very, very comfortable, very supportive. GP3 also has the same sort of seats, but I'd say the GP3s are possibly a bit more comfortable. These are still fantastic. You can tell this car is from a different era. I mean, 2012 to 2020, 8 years is a long time in terms of technology and where things have progressed to. So this has got the original placement for the speedo, which is massive, right in the middle, and this is now being replaced with the infotainment system on the new Minis. The biggest difference though is behind the steering wheel. This has just got a rev counter. GP3 on the other hand has changed over to a digital display. There's very few cars in the Mini range other than the Mini Electric which has got this, and I really, really like it. It's very clear, very simply laid out. Now, something I was a bit disappointed with, well, I was excited at first when I got here and said to him, looked on the dash, we've got this GP logo, one of 2000. I thought, how on earth have you got hold of the first Mini GP2? He hasn't. It's not that at all. That number doesn't change, which is a real shame. I don't know why they've done that. It must have cost at least another 5p on the cost of making the car. GP3 on the other hand has got your actual chassis number and it's 3D printed. So yeah, it's a shame he hasn't got that. It's not really end of the world, but just a nice touch. Steering wheel on the GP2 I actually prefer. It's very unfussy. There is no buttons on here whatsoever, which is a good thing. GP3 on the other hand has some buttons for picking up your phone, etc. And behind there we have 3D printed paddle shifters for the automatic box. GP3 only comes in automatic. I think that's a bit of a shame they couldn't offer a manual version of the car, but it's got to be a cost thing because the engine from there and the running gear all comes out of the BMW M135, and that only came in an automatic model. I think as a driver's experience, a manual is better, and this GP2 has that. It has got the 6-speed manual box, so I'm really looking forward to that. I just need to remember how a clutch works. So now we've talked about this car, let's get driving. I'm looking forward to this so much. I'm going to put on my face mask, Ian's going to get his face mask, climb in, we'll put the cameras up, and we're going to go and enjoy this car where it should be driven on some very nice back roads around here. So let's strap in and let's get going. GP3 is the fastest, most expensive car that they currently make. And stepping back to 2012 when this came out, that was exactly the same case with this. This is, well, it was fast in its day, it's still pretty lively, 218 brake horsepower. And it's a bit of a different proposition due to the suspension setup on this. So we're down some country lanes, and I just want to see what the driving experience is like in this thing. It's quite bumpy. We've got, yeah, that's definitely bumpy. We've got Bilstein coilovers on this, which is something the GP3 doesn't have. That has just harder springs and solid bushes. So it's a very different car, but it's lighter this as well, and it puts a smile on your face. I'm being very careful, having not driven the car for very long and not being mine. In fact, Ian's only owned it for a couple of weeks. Yeah, oh my goodness me. That's like being on a pogo stick at that point. That was just, yeah, I don't know if that's normal GP2 behaviour. Put in the comments down below if you own one, of your experience with it. But yeah, I'm gonna hold on. You would see a smile under my face at the moment, but obviously with COVID and being sensible, having to wear a mask. But oh, only a 1.6 litre engine.
You're going right.
Yeah, it's incredibly well sorted, this car. The brakes on this, as I found out from the beginning, I gently tapped them. Am I going to make it round?
Yeah, you will.
Oh, I'm about to stall it. No, don't do that. Yeah, we've got 6 piston calipers on this, which are very, very impressive. They stop you so well. Interestingly, the GP3 only has 4-pot piston calipers, but it has bigger discs. They're 360mm compared to 330 on this. But no, here we go, a bit of open road. Hold on tight. Oh my word. Yeah, this is lively, brilliant, but surprisingly, I don't think it's as firm as the GP3. I really, really don't. I actually think I could daily this. Maybe the odd visit to the chiropractor. I'd probably book one in once a month, but the GP3 I think would be weekly trips to the chiropractor. I can understand the appeal of this car. It's probably, I don't know, difficult between the GP1 and GP2. This is such a loved car. And we have a white van.
You'll get through there. He won't.
Yeah, there we go. So the fastest vehicle in the world is the transit van. Oh, what beautiful roads though. Let's not go in that pond. Let's go round.
There's that knocking I was telling you about when it starts to.
Oh.
You see what I mean? When it warms up.
That's really weird. There's a weird knocking. You probably don't pick it up on camera at the back. It's just.
It's where they bounce into the tops of where they can go.
Ah, there we go. So whether it needs a suspension rebuild, I'm not sure. There's been on a few forums that people have said 15,000 kilometres and they need to rebuild the suspension on it. So it could be that. I mean, this is done, it's done 23,000 miles, which is hardly anything for a car of, oh my goodness, lost a bit of traction there for, picked up a bit of mud. But that's something I found with this as well, that it is so aggressively set up like all of the GPs, the towing cam, but everything is so track focused that when you do hit a pothole, which inevitably happens, it feels like the car is dragged whichever way. It's a bit disconcerting. As a passenger, I found you don't get that. It's when you're driving, yeah, the steering wheel's getting, oh goodness me, oh dear. But I can imagine this on track being absolutely awesome. It's good on these roads. That's something we need to do next, I think.
What, the track?
Yeah. Have to.
We can do that next summer.
Yeah, we've got Brands Hatch, not that far away.
I don't fancy wearing a mask underneath a helmet.
Oh, no. That'd be particularly sweaty. This is bad enough. Lucky you don't wear glasses. You can't see Ian sitting over there. But yeah, my glasses all sweat up and I can't see out of them. Luckily I can at the moment.
Get right at the
yeah.
exit.
But these roads are beautiful they're nice to look at. They're a bit hairy to drive them because you are getting jiggled around quite a lot. But yeah, the clutch as well on this, it's quite a different biting point. You think, yeah, you've got to let it up, but it just bites a lot differently to other Minis I've driven, well, most other cars. And I know when you got it, Ian, you said that you were concerned there was something wrong with it.
Yeah, it drives very differently to a normal Mini. Anyone who's driven an R56 Cooper S versus this, it's entirely a different beast. And if you're used to driving an F56 to this, they're not even the same car.
No.
The Mini badge is about as far as it goes in similarity.
But it is so focused that this originally came out, it's based on the Challenge race car. So it's got some of the parts of that. The one thing I wish they had have carried over was the fact this has got an E-diff on it, and the Challenge has got a proper Torsen mechanical diff.
See, as soon as you're on here, then the suspension calms down again because it's not going bang, 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 bang the whole time. But it seems right at the extremities.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, these roads are definitely a bit better here that we've come across. There's less potholes, and the ride is definitely better. There was something about those. Oh my! I think I may have. Oh, I wasn't quite expecting that to do that. Yeah, driving at this speed, it feels like a normal Mini. It doesn't feel any different. I wouldn't think I was in anything particularly special. No. I love Minis anyway, so any Mini to me is special, but not a GP, not a limited edition car. I don't know, it's a bit harsh, but maybe that's the joy of it, that you don't have to feel like you're in a race car with a roll cage and everything. Ooh. A few potholes.
No, this road's terrible. Curry Hill, this is called.
Curry Hill?
Yeah.
Is it anything to do with lots of Indian restaurants?
It's like a row of them.
Ah.
Look, we've got 1, 2, 3, and there's a fourth one over there. And they're all owned by the same person.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe that should be a challenge. You go and order a curry and you have to sit there and eat it while I drive around. And try not to wear too much of it. Like I do on Top Gear, they've done it with glasses of water and eggs. We haven't done one. Can you cover the inside of your car with
a cake, didn't they?
Yes. You don't fancy eating a madras or something in a car. So that's the other thing I found with this, is the difference in size between GP3 and GP2 is it's substantial.
Yeah, it is.
This is such a small little car in comparison. You know, you hear him saying that you can reach the other side of the car, and in the new Minis you can't. You reach across and you can't reach the door card on the other side. And the thing that's good about the GP2 though is the fact it is lighter. It's about 100 kilos lighter than the GP3. So it has put on weight in the new version. That's probably because it is substantially bigger. But there is more power. There's 307 brake in the new one, 450 Newton meters. So it's a powerful engine, and how on earth they've...
There's a big pothole, not here, there,
Yeah.
just avoided it.
Yeah, there we go. The Nürburgring time in the GP3 was like 30 seconds quicker than the 2. I'm quite surprised. I'm enjoying this. I thought I was going to enjoy it in a different way.
How did you think you were going to enjoy it?
I thought it was going to be angry, shouty, hard. I drove. It was Chandler's Mini. It was the DP there. It was his car, but they'd fitted coilovers and everything to that, and had the Pro exhaust on it, and that was pretty firm as well. But the thing that had was the exhaust. It was just,
you hear it.
It was loud. It was proper. It's probably one of the best exhausts I've ever heard on a car. It was awesome. You had a little button, Bluetooth controller, and you go boop, and it would just turn into. Although you're not allowed to use it on the road, it says for track use, so I never turn that on.
Say that.
Yeah. So yeah, I never turned that on. That was I may have just imagined what it could have been possibly like.